Good morning, everyone. I would say happy 9/11, but that doesn't sound quite appropriate. But thank you, everyone who has already wished me happy birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you thinking of me. But this isn't necessarily about me. I was thinking last night, someone had asked me how 9/11 affected me, and my first thought was like, well, it was my 20th birthday. And then I was like, man, that's so freaking selfish. Like, I didn't mean to be so self-centered, but it made me think back on that time. And first of all, I can't believe it's 20 years, been 20 years. And second of all, holy crap, I'm 40. Like, when did that happen? Ah! Okay, so take me back to 20 years ago. And I'd love to hear your comments on where you guys were when all of this happened. But 20 years ago, my best friend Ryan and I woke up super early. We were going to school in the Central Valley, California. And she had bought tickets to go see our favorite band, 311, at the Joint in Las Vegas for my birthday. And so we got up ridiculously early, drove, I want to say it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way through, straight through to Baker, listening to CDs the whole way. We got to Baker and it was like 45 minutes out of Vegas. I checked my messages because that was before, you could check them all the time on your cell phone. I checked my message and it was from my mom. And I thought they were all going to be birthday wishes. And I was listening to her and she was like freaking out. She's like, Mija, you have to come home. There's been a terrorist attack. And I was like, what? Like, and my 20-year-old selfish kind of prickish brain was like, okay, some embassy somewhere has been bombed and like, whatever, mom, I don't need to cancel my trip. It's like hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away. Farther than that. See, I was 20. I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. I was probably hungover. But I remember thinking selfishly, like, this doesn't affect me. And then we turned on the radio and we were hearing it and we were in sheer disbelief. So forget about our trip. We went back to school and our school had a memorial service or kind of like, I want to say it was like a candle lighting thing, but also kind of like a grief counseling situation. And people were getting up and giving speeches and talks and things like that. And the one that impacted me the most was someone who's either my age or a little bit younger saying and pleading with the crowd, like, this is the first time in our generation that we've ever experienced any tragedy of this scale. Like, please help us understand what this means for us, what this means for us as a nation. How do we deal with this? And I remember just like sitting there going like, holy crap, that's right. Because I mean, the generation before us had JFK and Pearl Harbor and the World Wars. And our generation had never, ever, ever experienced that. I hope my kids' generation never experiences like something like that. I mean, granted, we have COVID, so there's that, but nothing on that scale all in one day and such impactful imagery. And thinking back on that day, the one thing that I can think of that was something that uplifted me very much was that for once we were like, my friend and I were in Vegas, like I said, everyone was talking to each other. Everyone was commiserating. There was people from Germany and England and all these people. We were sitting on public transportation talking to these people like before this. Like, I don't think anybody ever talked to each other. And it was like amazing to have all of this like camaraderie and relationships and people from all over the world were like feeling bad for Americans, which never happens. And I don't know. I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, everyone's friendly. And then it continued that way. I guess I thought I saw in that moment the compassion that could be. Doesn't always stick around, but it also kind of kept going. Like through like Jon Stewart, who's been fighting for the last 20 years for the first responders. And my goodness, the first responders. Do you guys remember? I remember very clearly watching everybody run out of the Pentagon and then run back in. And that was like amazing to me. And then the one thing that I had forgotten about that I saw maybe 1 or 2 years ago as like a remember when was when everyone was stuck on Manhattan and all of those like private boats and yachts and charters, everybody was driving their boats into Manhattan to help evacuate in a time when we couldn't. Like, there would have been no way to get the Coast Guard or the military all there in that amount of time to help everyone get off the island. And everyone came together and did that. So it was a huge tragedy. And I would never, ever, ever, ever want anything like that to happen. But I think in remembering that, we can remember the kind of humanity that we want to be. Because in those moments, in the following months, like, everyone came together and we were all united. But anyway, So that's my little spiel on 9/11. If you guys have a remembrance from that day, I'd love to hear it. Comments below. Let me know where you were. But before I hang up, it's my 40th birthday, and I wanted to show you guys something. Okay. So, for those of you guys who didn't know, I was actually a preemie. So look, I was on, this is the Cedars-Sinai magazine because my mom was flown to Cedars-Sinai because I was born at 6.5 months. So that's me right there on the cover. Tiny, 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 tiny. Okay, hang on just a second. I can always safely say that I was a centerfold. Yeah, me. I was a centerfold. Like, see? Centerfold. That's me again. And if you can't read it, I don't know if you'll be able to. It says, today babies like Veronica have a more than 80% chance of survival. And so the reason I was in the magazine is because I was born 6.5 months or at 6.5 months. And I had like nothing wrong with me. They kept me in the hospital for 13 days just to make sure there was actually nothing wrong with me because the doctors didn't believe it. But anyway, that was the beginning of my day 40 years ago. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Keep in mind all the people who lost their lives on this day 20 years ago and all of the people who were heroes that day. And yeah, treat each other with kindness, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.